And now Nigeria, a country with booming population and a vibrant tech scene, is rapidly embracing the power of artificial intelligence, AI. AI has the potential to revolutionize various sectors, from healthcare and agriculture to education and finance. The nation is witnessing a surge in AI adoption and development, from government initiative to thriving startups. The country's AI ecosystem is experiencing remarkable growth. And the last few days, Nigeria has shown its drive to embrace AI with a meeting between President Tinubu and the CEO of Google in Paris, France. The Director General of National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, Kashifu Inowa, said that the federal government's collaboration with tech giant Google is poised to position Nigeria as a global technology hub.
Yet many newsrooms struggle with outdated technology, limiting their ability to compete on a global scale. As digital advancements reshape the industry, concerns grow over AI potentially displacing journalists. But experts argue that AI should be seen as a tool for innovation rather than a threat. Recognizing this shift, USAGM and VOA stress the importance of integrating AI tools into journalism. Without adaptation, media professionals risk being left behind.
You have witnessed yourself through the tools and knowledge that you have gained from this training. That will help to build your capacity. And when you go back to your offices and trickle this down to other staff to learn how to use these tools, that will improve your efficiency in your jobs.
With the rise of digital media, concerns have emerged over artificial intelligence potentially replacing human journalists. According to the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs Report 2023, AI is expected to displace some traditional roles while simultaneously creating new opportunities in digital journalism and content moderation. AI specialist Celestine Archie expresses confidence that this intensive training has equipped editors with the knowledge to leverage AI in storytelling, fostering innovative solutions for the country's media challenges.
AI is defining and shaping the newsroom, okay, and also making journalists ready and capable to handle the new wave of innovation that we are currently experiencing today.
If you want to streamline your workflow, streamline your media workflow, be more effective, be more efficient, and of course, if you want to remain in the game, then you have to begin to embrace artificial intelligence.
The hands-on training covered key AI tools, ethical considerations, and collaborative exercises, giving participants a deeper understanding of AI's role in journalism. For many attendees, AI initially seemed abstract and distant, but after 3 days of in-depth sessions, perspective have shifted.
I used to see that something that they come to compete with human agency, but following the briefing during the training, I've come to realize that it's only of the human capacity and also productivity, while at the same time expanding the world of opportunities, particularly journalists. Things that you ordinarily wouldn't have been able to achieve in 48 hours, you can do that at the click of a button.
I've been using AI for not as much as I've learned right now. I've learned that I can explore so many ways with AI, I can do so many things, and it's going to make my work very easy and seamless. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
Yes, on that heat.
With the skills acquired through this program, USAGM and VOA anticipate significant transformations in the newsrooms of their affiliate organizations. By embracing AI-driven solutions, these journalists are better prepared to navigate the evolving media landscape with confidence and expertise.
One more time. USAGM. Yeah, interesting. What a conversation to have this morning. And joining me live in the studio is the Chief Executive Officer and Chief AI Officer at Cheat Hub, Michael Agbogo. Did I pronounce your name well?
Yes, you did. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. So conversations about this is very tricky. Tricky in the sense that some persons have said that, is AI coming to take our jobs? Globally, AI is getting to be largely accepted compared to a few years, where people express fears about, what AI could do and the negative effects what it could have. First, let's first establish that conversation, what AI could do and its negative effect, before we now say, okay, is AI coming to take my job? Am I coming to take it? Is AI coming to enhance my job? But let's first have the good effect and the negative effect of it. Let's start from there.
Okay, I think I'll start with, we normally hear the word AI, but in itself, we know that it's artificial intelligence. Yeah. So what does it seek to do? What it seeks to do is to mimic the human intelligence, for machines to be able to mimic human intelligence and senses. So when we say intelligence and senses, we mean ability of machines to see, hear, and have judgment and make decisions. Yeah. What that means is once machines have those abilities, machines can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They don't go on leave. They don't, once that investment is done once. So in a drive for productivity, more people will try to adopt this intelligence to make their products either cheaper, faster, more resilient. And that's where, the competition really comes in. There, like every other thing, it's a two-edged sword. While we normally say that the people that invented the plane did not plan to invent plane crash, but it's a side effect that comes along with that. And that's how, the other negative dimensions of AI, if put in the wrong hands, can come in. And that's why there's a lot of effort by, many countries and continents, Europe, to ensure that there's ethical use of AI, because as it has the power to create, it also has a lot of power to destroy, and a lot of effort needs to be put in to ensure that it's being used properly under the right, data privacy and other and also ethical use. So that's where it is. To answer your second question, to preempt you, so I think the CEO of NVIDIA said it correctly, or even better than I would have said it, where he said that, the fear of AI losing your job is not the real fear. The real fear is losing your job to somebody that is using AI. So if you don't use it, somebody else that is using it will take over your job, take over your industry, because we call it, there's a lot of productivity enhancements that can come with using it. So someone more productive will always take over someone that is unproductive.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let's look at, some of the partnerships that Nigeria is entering into. And that has to do with, recently the CEO of Google met with President Bola Tinubu. And some will say that that's a good thumbs up, we're moving in the right direction. What does this partnership really mean, in terms of even driving government, government policy through the use of artificial intelligence?
Okay. I think I receive it with, mixed feelings. The first is intentionality. At least we can see intentionality from the government in driving this. Because if you see what's happening around the world right now, even the Middle East countries, Asian countries, India, they are announcing huge investments into developing that capability. Yeah. But on the other side of it is, what is the resultant of that capability in terms of what does Nigeria stand to gain in terms of positioning? I'll give an example. I think after the Second World War, thereabout, after the Japanese bombing and all that, Japan was in ruins. And then some of the Japanese, or the Japanese government, sent a lot of Japanese to the US to go and see what they were doing there, and they discovered what they were doing. Yeah. At the end, what did they do? They came back. And you can see the result of that going and coming back in huge companies like Toyota being formed, Mitsubishi, and all these kind of things. How there's intentionality in having these engagements, there should also be an end game. So the end game is not to partner with Google for Google to have Nigeria's data to develop better products for the world. How does Nigeria gain from this partnership? How does that help to put Nigeria on the roadmap, or on the global map for artificial intelligence? Google is one, big player in the industry, but there are others. I don't think Google is even number one in terms of that. There's OpenAI, the Chinese are doing a lot of stuff. There are lots of other players in it. But the end game should be, how does Nigeria come out of this partnership on a better footstool than just, being ripped off?
What are the things that you think that we can benefit? I know that you're not part of government, but what are the things that you think that we can benefit in terms of this kind of partnership with Google? Or what are the things that you think that government should lay down to say, okay, this is what we want to benefit from this?
I think most of the time when, people either from the West or from Asia look at Africa and look at Nigeria, they look at it as a market. Meaning, these are consumers that we will sell things to. But we need to move from that to being creators. What that means is, at least for me, is we should always keep in mind that we want to grow local capability in here. We need people that will be at the cutting edge of technology. We need that to translate into, our educational institutions, because most of the research that comes in to become products in AI come from universities.
That's true.
So how does this knowledge translate to our universities? That's one.
Very true.
Secondly, infrastructure. To be able to, why most of these companies have a big edge is they have resources to be able to set up, large data centers that have what you call GPUs. That's what you use to train them. So even when I do have the skill to be able to train a large language model, I cannot do it because I don't have, hundreds of millions of dollars to invest in a data center.
Yeah.
So how does that translate into having such infrastructure in here that educational institutions, researchers can have access to such resources to be able to, bring out things? And that's the tangibility that we need to have at the end. When we have this partnership, what do we learn from it? What do we gain from it? How do we get infrastructure from it? How do we create researchers from it? How do our educational institutions benefit from all these kind of things? And that's where that should go into. Because at the end, if the focus is on we're partnering with Google to make our government more efficient, at the end, you are buying a solution from Google. That's what it translates to. But if we are partnering with Google to ensure that, we develop that capability in here in terms of infrastructure. I think government has organizations like Galaxy Backbone that are supposed to be responsible for development of such infrastructure.
Of course, yeah.
What this should dovetail into is that partnership should bring Galaxy Backbone on the table, where the questions are being asked, how can GPU data centers be created by Galaxy Backbone to support that? Google has an AI research arm, I think DeepMinds also. How do we connect that with, our technical institutions like, the universities of technologies, researchers? How do they benefit from getting better capability built around this?
I think you're very correct. So there are indications that, AI is being used for the wrong reasons. There are some that use it for the wrong reasons. How do we team, all of these, knowing that we live in a world where you are here and I can create you that you are in Kafasha? How do we team it?
It's a challenge because at the end it's a tool. And you now need to find a good balance between regulation and stifling innovation. If it's too regulated, you stifle innovation. If it's totally unregulated, then obviously this harm that you talked about. So it's about getting the right people in the room and ensuring that we find a good balance. I think a lot of the continents have started doing things like that. The European Union, they have some kind of regulation that they've put in place for the ethical use of AI and all that. Yeah. And that spins off regulations like the General Data Protection Act and regulation that they have to ensure that data is used correctly and having the correct sanctions in place for when it's used unethically. So as you said, it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that can be managed, if I'll put it that way. And managing it means that we find a good balance between regulation and innovation and having the right people to, push it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michael Agboro.
Agboro.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. He's the Chief AI Cheat Hub.
Yes.
If I'm correct.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.